We're gonna watch your... Whoa, what just happened? Okay, we're gonna watch your Paraiso VOD. Wow, this is like really already glitching. Okay, so... I will say, I've watched like basically the whole thing. I have watched the whole thing. And the first 2 points, there's not too much you could have done. Like, this is already gonna be a 4v5 engagement. We know they have a Widow who... Honestly, we watched the cast stand still, so we don't know if the Widow is good or bad at this point, but we just need to be wary that that is someone we are facing. This is okay, but I really want us rotating soon because we don't want to be in LOS with this Widow. And even as we're retreating this way, I kind of want us to hug this wall because we don't know where the Widow is, so if we just kind of back up this way, we at least have some natural cover of this wall here, versus if we kind of are on this edge, it's easier for her to try and get a shot on us when she sees us. But in all honesty, we're down 2. This fight is lost. Like, I don't think we've gotten 1 pick, so this is still a 3v4, but this is gonna be really hard. And now we lost another pick, so now it's a 2v3 because our Echo got a pick. I highly suggest right here, trying to get a quick scope in on your Echo. I really love that you chose to go for an offensive nade here. It's very nice. But I would just go for a quick scope here, so that we guarantee we hit that shot, and then you can continue with these no scopes. Nice try. I think I would have probably gone for another offensive nade because we know that our Echo could fly. And that is what ends up happening. And she's not really low, so just trying to get an offensive nade, especially as the shield's about to break, could be really big. And it could actually be salvageable because our cast is back too. Good attempt. We need to help our Echo. Yeah, now we need to dire it out. I'm actually really surprised you managed to get out here. And now as we're leaving, be cautious. This point is... So... This second point is very, very strong for defenders because of these high grounds. So now, honestly, we just need to take time. we really actually need to rotate all the way around so we can try and take this high ground. Because it is that worth it. Yeah, even here, be wary, because we know they have that Widow who hit a shot, so playing in the open like this, and now we see the LOS of her, I'd be threatened by her, because we know in the kill feed that she's hit 2 shots, so the second we see her in the LOS, I don't even want to risk it. It'd be one thing if we knew she was bad, but we know she's good. And we really need to try and take that high ground, because this is going to be rough for a team. Yeah. See what you're trying to do. I'm gonna be rough because they're pushing into this shielded Widow. Oh, we seek her. Nice try. I think they've already capped though. So we just kind of need to die here so our team can finally regroup. So we gave up second very, very quickly for because what happened was we needed to take this high ground, or if we were being impatient, we could try and take this high ground. So if we wanted to be a little bit more impatient, we could have taken this high ground and then just tried to heal our team from this angle. It'd be harder for us to get offensive shots. That's why I slightly like this one a bit more. And this also has we can retreat from this angle. This is still a little bit like open to the Widow, so that's why we want to try to play a little bit further back, or we could play on this angle. And then if we get too pressured, we can drop down this way. But because we didn't get to like really position, they had a lot of momentum going into our team, and we didn't have these really strong high grounds to try and like stop them. So it's like our team was together, but we weren't in the spot that we needed to be because we didn't like get to stop their momentum at any point. It was like, oh, they got to choose to take this fight earlier than we wanted. So that's why we completely, like, second kind of collapsed so quickly. This is fine because our team needs to regroup. This was going to be a rough fight. We got a Moira ult out of them, which is massive because they honestly didn't need to use it. And we can get a pretty good nano here.
One of these days I'll end up in Fiji.
I'm a pretty big fan of Nano Tracer in all honesty, but I don't think Nano Winston is also fine now that we have a Winston. Should be scared of the Widow. We know she has sights. Yep. Ooh, yeah. Oh, it's nice that she missed. I do think that shows that, like, I like this as well. But I don't really like that we chose to drop. We could still try and get a lot of these shots still from here. Actually, we could get the exact same position we are, and we're very, very lucky we did not get shattered here. So I think just be careful and just try and play a little bit further back in this position in particular. High ground's very, very strong. It is worth it to take time to go get high grounds. That's rough. It would have been a lot harder for them to shoot us if we were on that back high ground, and it would have been a lot easier. Like, one thing that people kind of don't realize is that, well, I think people don't necessarily take in the factor, is that a lot of heroes that have splash damage have upwards mobility, or like people who have like splash abilities. So by this, I mean like Junkrat, I mean Ashe, I mean Baptiste. I'm trying to think of anyone off the top of my head. Obviously Pharah, like Echo. And the reason why is because splash damage is way, way, way easier to hit from a high ground than it is from a low ground. So that's why they've kind of chosen people who have those abilities, like Ashe, Dynamite. It's a lot easier to hit them if you have a mobility to get it from the high ground. So that's partially why even with Ana, it's still, high ground is, well, one, high ground is strong with hit scans anyway, but not a lot of them have like as upwards mobility. Well, I guess Widow does. But landing a nade from this angle would be a lot easier than landing the nade from this angle. And now that we're on Zen, we can try, still, high grounds are still, the other reason why high grounds are strong is because it's harder for the enemy to hit you. So, especially when they're running a brawlier comp, which, I mean, like Rhine and Moira, if we're further back on this high ground, Zen doesn't have damage fall off, so we can keep spamming him into the shield. If we get too low, we can hide, we can get our natural regen back, and then we can start and peek again and do the exact same thing. And not only that, if we like throw in a Discord into this, as we don't peek, it's still going to connect as we're getting our health back and all those kinds of things. So we really want to try and play where it's harder for them to hit us. So that could be like this angle as well. I don't mind this angle where the cast is. That's partially why I'm saying there, but this is also fine. It's just a little bit easier for them to get you here because they can go up these stairs. It's harder for them to get you here because they have to make a choice of like going up like all those stairs to get here. So that's why the cast's position is also strong.
You have my thanks.
When Discord out, nice. This is gonna be rough. Yeah, because now our escape plan when we're in this position is we have to go this way really, and because we chose to go this way, this was kind of into the team, and the Bastion could still like peek out and get out. So when we're like trying to hold angles and hold natural cover, it's better to have natural cover that has like an escape route is what I like to call it. So that's why I'm like, oh, here is fine, because our escape route, if we're shooting from here, is this way, and this is away from the enemy team. It's going to be a lot harder for them to hit us. And the same with this one. This one has an escape route of us holding natural cover because we can go this way. So just try and think about like, oh, if I'm in a position here and this is an aggressive position, what happens when they actually choose to push me and pressure me in an aggressive position? And that's, I need to escape. And so that's why it's like, okay, well, if I'm in a position here, I need to have an out. I like the Curie swap. I don't mind this, but after we start getting like this, we've used both of our abilities to get there. We need to like either we can wall climb right behind us and stand here, so that way we have the natural cover here. Or I also like wall climbing up here, and then we can try and do the same stuff that we're doing, as in healing the monkey and shooting the Rhine from like this angle. Or like just kind of wall climb to be in a different angle, so that way we have that same kind of high ground advantage. Oh, so, here's another example of like it's a lot easier to land Suzu from an upwards angle than it is like from a level playing field. This is fine. That was scary in all honesty. I would have tried probably TPing to the monkey instead, because then we can try and get shots on his squishies, but this is all fine. I like the kind of bait.
Not in charge anymore.
And now Kiriko is like, has such great mobility, and she has 2 escape abilities. So after we have this, we really want to try and have control of this area, of this high ground. So I like, I know later you play on here and this is fine. I don't mind also like playing over here and getting some aggressive angles this way. And then if all else fails, we can bail out to one of our teammates. You could even stand up here, while climb up here and get shoot some shots here. And then we can fall back here if we get pressured. Stuff like that. Where we want to try and take... Kiriko's very different than all the other supports because we have so much mobility and we have 2 escape abilities. So you can play extra aggressively and get away with it. So I want to try to pepper in some damage here. I don't mind that, but we could have also gotten there through wall climbing. Don't forget that we have wall climb. So we can wall climb up here as well. And especially against Orion, high ground is so strong. Yeah. So one thing I also like to tell Kiriko players is make sure you use your Suzu with intention. So I understand what you're thinking here about this monkey, but the truth is he's the biggest threat. I know we think it's the Bastion. It's actually the Rhine in this scenario. So because he's gotten away from the Rhine, and he has like this Moira orb, we can just use our healing to get up to him, and then we can save our Suzu for a more critical moment. And then here, I really want his wall climbing up to the right here, so we can just right up here, so we can have this kind of position. And it's going to be much harder for them to see us and shoot at us. Especially right here. That Moira orb is scary to me with how much damage we've taken. Yeah. So, especially in these elos, it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind. If you're playing in a position where the enemy can't really see you, or if you choose to be behind a wall for a little bit, they tend to forget about you. So even if we just go up onto that wall for a little bit, it's highly possible that the Rhine just forgets about us. He just doesn't suddenly choose to pursue us anymore. It's going to be harder for him to do so versus him just trying to pressure somebody down main. So try and keep that in mind of like, oh, I could be out of sight, out of mind here if I just wall climb up there. And here I want us trying to take, again, being on that high ground to the right. High ground is so strong. Yeah. We were just aiming our Suzus a little low in general, so be cautious about that. Just lift your crosshair up just a hair. But that'll also come, like I said, if you were on a high ground, it's much easier for you to land those. I also didn't think the cast necessarily needed it, but this is fine. Yeah, that's rough. There are some supports where you can die with cooldowns, and it's like not the biggest deal. Kiriko's one where you want to make sure you try and spam both of your cooldowns before you die. Baptiste is another good example of like, whatever you do, don't die with cooldowns. I'm trying to think if there's any rule support that are actually like that's not necessarily true. I guess like Lifeweaver is a good example of you can die with cooldowns, or Mercy is another one. But yeah, a lot of the supports it's just like if you can try and spam both of them right before you die. That again was a little bit unneeded, and I want us to try and be out of sight a bit more, so that high ground to the right. Nano Bastion's really scary. TPing into a Rhine is also kind of scary. It's unfortunate. I really like that you seem to know, like, shoot, heal. It's not, like, every time, but I do like that you are peppering in damage in between your heal shots. I also really appreciate how you're playing around shield there. But now I want us to, like, wall climb up this wall. Yeah, it's perfect. And I want you to play kind of like this more and more in these positions more. The only time I don't want that to necessarily happen is when we don't have cooldowns. So I'd wall climb up again. So this in particular, we landed our shots on her. I want to keep pressuring her because I don't think she's going to get healed very quickly. So if we just kind of wall climb up here, we have 2 cooldowns. We can just try and land another shot on her and then TP or Suzu ourselves out. I like to try and TP out first because it's the less valuable ability. But I think we could have definitely probably pushed the far and maybe even killed her. Yeah, just stay at that high ground. That gives us some natural cover as well.
I don't give up that easily.
This is good. I want us wall climbing up behind us to the right, if we can. So with like Ana, I want us back here because of like escape routes and how much harder it is to get us, and we don't have mobility. With Kiriko, I really want us up here because of how aggressive we can be. Remember, our damage does 120 if we land a headshot. It's really ridiculous actually. So if we're just even kind of like weaving in and out here and like trying to get some shots here and then back and then shots and then back, we can TP out to our team because we still have the range for it. Kiriko really thrives on playing aggressively, and then use your TP to bail and your Suzu to help your team a little bit more, but don't be afraid to use it to help yourself because we don't want to die with cooldowns. There's some supports that like thrive from following around their tanks. Kiriko is not one of them. The supports that thrive like following around their tanks a little bit more, I would say, is like Moira, Lucio kind of things. The ones that like help buff a brawl. But with like Kiriko, we can definitely take a lot of off angles. And then we can TP back to our team and help our tank.
In the coming battle, you mean?
Perhaps. Ready for battle. Ready for battle. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
Sheesh. We know they have Bastion. They don't have wheels anymore, so this means a good engagement. Nice. Someone is getting Discord out. Nice. So even if downtimes, like here, don't be afraid to just, not here, but here, charge a volley. Then we can maybe have a shot at that Bastion, or we can shoot at the Rhine Shield. I like that you noticed the Zen. Charge a volley here. If you don't know what you're doing with Zen at the time, you can just charge a volley. And then if you don't want to throw it, you can melee to get it out. Very nice shots. Appreciated the discords on them too. This is good. We could peek a little bit if you wanted here to just try and get more ult charge, but we don't have to.
Objective A captured. Escort the payload.
That's fine. I would charge another volley. Just here. Just keep doing it. Keep doing it until you get ult. I like getting the Discord out though. Discord, nice. I want you to be also a little bit cautious about reloading during a fight. We'll see if that actually comes relevant in this next one. This next engagement. Our orb is... So... Our Harmony Orb serves like a few purposes. It's best on like a flanker, like Tracer, or our Winston. Either of those two things will, like, it helps our Tracer a lot, or we get ult charge on the Winston. So just be kind of cautious about leaving it on somebody who's not one of those two. Because we have it on Moira for a bit here. But we could like really help out the Tracer if it was on her here. And then from here I'd switch to the Monkey. Yeah. I still want us playing a little bit further back here because especially when they have like Mei and Brig, we have a few options. Oh my god, I keep hitting B instead of N. So we can play here and just keep weaving this way. But I honestly, again, I want us taking this high ground. High grounds are super, super strong. And if we were all the way up here, if we took the time to do that, we could get a lot of damage in here. And especially as they're like retreating, they don't have a great way to like stop stop our damage from getting to them. Discord her again. Nice. Right here, melee her. So a discorded melee, I calculated it. I'm pretty sure it does 59 damage. So if you see somebody like get pretty low, like she does right here, and you have discord on them, just melee her right there.
I got the payload. Let's roll.
My power emanates. The payload has reached the checkpoint.
That's fine. Yeah, want to aim, so I say this about Zen and with Hanzo, a lot of like your right clicks, and with Hanzo, just him in general, you get really far with luck and crosshair placement. So when we're spamming, I want you to aim a little bit higher, just a little bit higher. That's better. Can be scary. I want us orbing the Winston here. It's unfortunate we had to use that for ourselves, but it's also okay because they're using both support ults. And when we end Transcendence, this is a big thing. When you hit about 2 seconds at the end of Transcendence, I want you to think about positioning. So right about here, a little bit after this, but we want to start retreating and then we can try and play back here again. I really like this position from us. Or we could play even further back, but it'll just get us further from the Brig rally. Good job discording her. This is fine. I want our natural regen. Discord, very good. Nice. Discord again. Nice. This is really aggressive positioning. That's fine, we're not getting punished for it. Now I kind of want us to stay further back here if we can. Oh, this is scary. Yeah. So, now that they have a Pharah, we have to be, like, extra cautious with our positioning, and natural cover becomes even more king. So, I kind of don't mind playing further this way, because we know the Pharah doesn't have an angle on us. And then if we were here, we could get pretty good shots on our Reaper. On that Reaper. If not, we could even try and play further back here, but this is a little bit easier for the Pharah to spam the doorway, and it's going to be harder for us to be zoned out. But either of these positions, my goal is to kind of just zone the Pharah, so she has to be the one to be aggressive into us, instead of she can kind of just stay where she currently is and get some free splash damage on us. Our team needs to regroup. This Reaper pick is pretty big for them. It's all fine.
Let us push the payload.
Yeah, so if you... I'll show you at the end, actually. I'll show you a little something at the end. Nice. I'm gonna make sure we push this Reaper. Discord him again so we have LOS. We can hear him to our left, so we gotta be cautious. He died. Discord. Now we need to be cautious about our positioning here as well. Using Carter's payload is good. I want us playing further back than this, especially because they're running a Reaper. Yeah, that's unfortunate. But if we were like further back here, we could get a lot of the value that we were currently getting. And we could get a few more discords in. It's a big role, like try and think like out of sight, out of mind. Your team wins. Okay. So I really want us utilizing high ground more. Paraiso is like notorious for how strong high ground is. And then the other thing is just like that'll help the out of sight, out of mind thing. If we're just kind of, it's worth it to take the time to go high ground. It is that strong. And I hope that was helpful. And, you know, let me know if you have any questions. So I realized I forgot to say this, so I'm tagging it on the end. When you're, let's say we're like charging a volley, and then we're like, oh wait, there's no one to shoot. We can melee, and that means that we have, it saves us time, and it also doesn't give away our position as much. They still get the audio cue about the melee, but it doesn't give away our position as much, and it lets us charge up the next volley a lot faster than if we actually shoot it out, because then we have to like deal with all the animations and stuff. So, try and that's just a fun like little tech tip. And that's all. Okay, let me know if you have any questions.